As a precocious little boy, full of untroubled promise and sparkly curiosity, I was a voracious reader. Specifically, I gravitated toward the extraterrestrial, rockets, spacesuits, and supernovas. I remember discovering that the twinkling of the stars was caused mostly by teeny tiny scratches on our corneas, the accumulated damage of years of sand and grit, deflecting and refracting rays from distant suns, like scuff marks on a compact disc. Although I was primarily possessed by an innocent sense of curious bewilderment, as my tender eyes could not yet see the twinkling, I was also taken by a prescient twinge of weariness, as on some fundamental level I knew that my sight could never remain. As a restless teenager, I would often be driven by an unsettling, anxious boredom to take aimless nighttime walks, sinuously looping around our quiet neighborhood, trying to calm the nauseous turmoil that rumbled in my head. One evening, I noticed a path, usually pitch dark, that was that night instead extraordinarily well lit by a full, bright moon. Deciding to seize the opportunity, I ventured deep into an array of alien cul-de-sacs, wandering down clustered rows of shadowy tree-lined townhouses. At the top of a footpath that climbed a steepening hill tucked between two driveways, I made an undoubtedly fortuitous discovery. I spent a moment taking in the serenity of the scene, the gentle pearlescence of falling moonlight, before allowing my brain to truly process the wondrous boon before me. A full playground, shining in the unobstructed brightness of the brilliant night sky. I immediately scrambled halfway up a short plastic slide and laid down. Delicate drops of moisture soaking my shirt and clinging it to my back. It was a brisk autumn night, but I barely noticed. My mind was once again consumed by the soul-numbing restrictiveness of the high school curriculum, the nerve-wracking promise of college, my overwhelming sense of isolation from the life of a normal, healthy teenager, and above all, the powerful and ineffable connection I felt with the scintillating starscape above. Gazing up, attempting to pick out the subtly colored planets from the brilliant blackness, I was filled with a warm feeling despite the chill air. A vague childhood remembrance of lying on the back of my dad's pickup on some New England beach, drifting off together into the glowing embrace of the universe. There was a precious feeling, and as I focused on the stars, I encouraged it to linger. The night was beautiful, crisp and clear, and the stars twinkled with quiet glee around the exuberant face of the moon. I lay there, stewing upon the fundamentally transient nature of our existence. The fact that the spectacular cosmic light show hitting my eyes was emitted eons ago, perhaps by stars now long dead. Seemingly of their own volition, countless flickering recollections I had taken for granted began arising in my mind. The radiant perfections of unexamined love, a list of youth's blissful givens. The smiles of the other kids who died on the ward. The sound of my grandfather's laugh and my mother's singing voice. The feeling of my grandmother's hand in mine and my father's arms over my shoulder. The taste of Thanksgiving dinners and the lips of my young loves. The smells of my family's lost kitchens and closets and pantries. And back again to that unscratched eyes view of the cosmos. Innocent and awestruck. Forever gone, swallowed up by the ceaseless advance of time. I could sense the return of that prescient sense of despair It had grown along with me, and it threatened to drag me down into that vast hollowness at the bottom of my stomach. A longing for some elusive semblance of permanence. A familiar existential nausea wrought by the inexorable lockstep inertia of time itself. Uncompromising, incomprehensible, and all-encompassing. Propelled by a whimsical wisdom younger than my years, I made a beeline for the swings. I swung for a while, immersing myself into the slow, meditative rhythm of my pumping legs, going ever higher, ever faster, ever upwards. For a fleeting moment, my mind settled down, unencumbered by usual thoughts. Before long, I was almost horizontal. And at every peak, there was a precious, weightless, split-second where it seemed that I might fly right off the planet into that winking starlight. If it had actually happened, I think I would have gleefully laughed the whole way. For as the stars all danced incessantly above my swinging head, I noticed, perhaps for the first time, that their twinkling made them more beautiful, not less.